For me, because we're speaking to you afterwards, but just newsy stuff. How are you looking going into the final game? Who's fit? Who isn't? It's been a pretty busy few weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, and the other thing is, of course, we're not good at 3 games in a week. You know, the makeup of our squad and the fact that players are coming back from injury, etc. You know, a 3rd game after the 2 very tough ones we've had, it's not the right situation for us in that respect to be able to comfortably say, yeah, we're great. You know, we'll be able to put out the same sort of team. I've really got to wait and see tomorrow. I mean, I really am hoping it will be better than I fear it might be at the moment. But until tomorrow, I just don't know.
Okay, just can we just check in on Eze and how he is? Because, you know, you hear you've got an injury. It's a bit of a shock, isn't it? And then you kind of have to mentally prepare yourself, don't you, for what lies ahead. How is he? And he's, you know, his character. I'm sure he's the sort that will, I don't know, is he the sort that would just get on and treat this as kind of a big challenge and just part of life?
Yes, I mean, I think that sums it up beautifully. I had a long chat with him this morning, actually, and I mean, we're concerned, of course, that when that happens to you after such a good season, first season, you know, literally the world couldn't be better or the picture couldn't be rosier than it was for him when that injury occurred. And one is then concerned that's going to have a catastrophic effect, if you like, on the player himself. But I've got to say, I've been very impressed by his resilience, by his mental approach to the subject. And he will recover, and he will recover quicker than it's normally possible to recover. And in the meantime, I'm afraid he's going to have to accept that these tests, if you like, of his mental capacity are part and parcel of football. He's learned it early on, but he's got such a bright future, the young man, that he'll come over it and come back stronger.
I mean, you said you've been a little bit busier today, but I guess overall it's for you. Have you been able to do business as usual?
No. No, I think I'm a human being at the end of the day, like everybody else, and it would have been a very special person who could have accepted everything that's been going on. I mean, the reception the other night from the club and from the players, what they did on the field, apart from anything else, the fans today. Taken aback really by, you know, the reception from the players and the presentation to Ray Lewington and myself this morning.
Oh.
All things which we really didn't expect, you know, and other people at the club also coming with presents and gifts and thank yous, if you like, for the time we spent together. Where it's strange in a way that we feel, Ray and I, that it's us who need to be thanking you. You know, we need to be certainly thanking the players and the club. We certainly need to be thanking all the people in the backroom staff at a football club, and we certainly need to be thanking also people like yourselves, the media. You know, who, because the Premier League, to keep it going like we have done, it's needed a lot from the clubs and the players and the backroom staffs and everybody. But it's also needed a lot from you guys as well, because you know it's not quite the same. And it's good to have a job to go to. It's not quite the same job that you've been used to. So it's, for me, it's a time of great gratitude. And I'm being a little bit taken aback by the fact that so many people seem to want to telling me they're grateful for what we've done. So it's a nice feeling in that respect, but it is strange. I must say, the game the other night was, I'm not saying surreal, but it was hard. It was very hard. And after the game, even harder.
And you've obviously got one more to go, and I guess you just hope that in such an iconic stadium, somewhere where you've got history, you just would love to go and win, wouldn't you? Like, could there be any more emotional kind of motivation behind you in that side?
Well, we might not get out of Anfield if we win. That could be the only problem. You know, we might be locked in the dressing room for a good while, but we are an honest bunch here. There's no doubt about that. And I think that we talk a lot about integrity, and the Premier League for me is one of the great leagues in the world for showing integrity. I don't know if we can be good enough to go up to Anfield and win, but I do know that whatever 11 players put that Crystal Palace shirt on, they will be, you know, busting a gut basically to win. And if we don't win, it will probably be because on the day Liverpool played better than we did.
Just finally from me, it's a big summer, isn't it? You say goodbye, lots of players out of contract. You've laid fantastic foundation over the past few years. It's crucial, isn't it, that the club builds from that now and pushes on, isn't it? Because otherwise, you want to look back and have been the start of something, don't you?
Well, be careful with the pushing on. That's the only thing. If I was coming into the club now, and or if I was the club chairman or the club sporting director, I would be a bit worried about this. Now's the time to push on. What does pushing on mean, really? You have to be so careful. We've talked about it before. For me, the stability of the club is a very important factor. I believe that the club will push on. I think they will get better, will get stronger. But whether that will lead to, all of a sudden Champions League football, that's another matter. That might take an even longer period of time and might even never be possible. There's plenty of teams that have never played an FA Cup final, never won a major league, and never been in European football. Being in the Premier League itself is such a vital component, I think, of teams like us, for ourselves today. So I would prefer my departure to be met with, there is a stable base, there is a good group of players there. The club's in very good condition, playing wise, financially. There are opportunities, to make improvements and get an even stronger squad together. But let's at least not put the new manager under the pressure. Hodgson's kept them in the league and in and around the middle of the table for 4 years. Now you're going to get us into Europe. I think that would be an enormous burden on anybody, and not just on the manager, on the whole club. So personally, I prefer expectations to remain at what I consider to be a realistic level.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. We're going to go to Mark Scott, Premier League Productions.
Hi, Roy. Sad to be doing this for the last time.
Yeah, the same, Mark. Yeah, it is.
But how have the emotions been since the Arsenal game? Because that was the last home game. There was that lovely moment on the pitch, but now it's the last game. How have you been with that and looking forward to this one?
Yeah, I don't think I've been good with it because, it's one thing preparing a situation, then another thing living with the situation. And there have been so many really touching gestures that I've experienced over these last couple of days, and not to mention the incredible scenes on Wednesday evening and the reception that I got from the crowd, and also, of course, the way the club have handled and all the good things they've said about Ray and myself, as we are leaving our jobs behind. So I don't think people really believe me if I said, yeah, it's no problem, we're shrugging it all off and it's business as usual. How can it be? But I'm lucky that I've got a very professional group of players, and I think Ray and I also have a large degree of professional. We've got enough to do the training sessions we need to do to prepare the game in the right way, and so all of that will be done. There's no question of that. But will it feel the same as maybe it would have done at the end of a season when I will be soon preparing for the next one? Then the answer is no, it won't feel that way. And there will be further emotion, not least of all because we're playing up at Anfield, which is a pretty emotional stadium. And it could be, of course, emotional for one team and another. It might be us celebrating an unexpected victory or draw, or them, of course, sealing Champions League football. So there'll be plenty of emotion on show on Sunday afternoon.
You mentioned the word emotion. Do you think this will be the biggest emotional tug you've had going into an exit from a club across your entire managerial career?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, there have been others, and comparisons are, not really good to make anyway. But there's no doubt that the departure from Crystal Palace and the way it's been handled, the way people have reacted to it, the things that people have said, that will live very, very long in the memory. And I must say, I couldn't have expected it to be as good as it's been. I am humbled by it. I'm certainly very grateful for all the good things that are being said. And it's nice to know, I suppose, that, you know, when you step aside from Palace after 4 years, and maybe even step aside from football after 45 and a half years, it's nice to know that people have appreciated to some extent what you've done in the game. And I'm really proud of that.
And if it wasn't going to be a home game for your last game in charge of Palace, away at Anfield, iconic stadium, home of the champions, recently deposed champions, is that what you'd like to bow out on one of the big cathedrals of the game?
Yes, I think so. Yes, I think that's right. Although there are so many cathedrals now, you know, the way the Premier League is, you know, so many teams are doing so well and building up that it's not just the odd one or two cathedrals that you see now. You see a lot of them. But yes, you're right. I understand where you're coming from. It would be wrong or remiss of me not to recognise that's a very valid point.
And they're going to have fans in, but can you feed off that as well? Because we know what the atmosphere can be like at Anfield, even when it's only a quarter full. Can you get something out of the energy the fans in there will bring?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that the crowds do energise. You know, we've seen it on Wednesday night. You know, I think both teams were energised by the fans. The level of performance, even towards the end of the game, showed how much energy and enthusiasm there was on that field with that group of players. I mean, it starts in a way really which must be strange for both sets of players. You know, great for me, the guard of honour. That really took me by surprise. I'm grateful for that and thankful that Arsenal agreed to do that. That was really strong and classy of them. But I mean, certainly when that game started and the game finished, there was no suggestion that it wasn't 100% Premier League football. We both need to win. We both need to get points. So there'll be plenty of that. And I think the fans did help in that respect. It was so good to see them back. And, you know, I think the start of next season, if they allow even more fans in, you're going to see football back again as we know it.
Roy, I know you've had this said to you plenty of times, but I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure over these last 4 years, and I wish you all the very best for the future.
Thank you very much, Mark. The same. I appreciate it.
Cheers, Roy. All the best.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the broadcast section for the day. Thank you very much.